Hello and welcome to the Calmcast, a time to feel calm and think clearly. I'm Claire Downham, the Queen of Calm, a transformational life coach. I was a burnt out head teacher who finally made the journey to calm after years of trying, and I want to prevent you from having to do the same. The Calmcast is a series of short explorations, gently guiding you back to your natural state, which is calm and clarity. Just listen like you would listen to music, with an open mind and curiosity. There's nothing else to do. Now let's relax into today's episode. So today I am sharing part 3 of my story, and it's really strange because I never planned there to be a part 3, but then somebody said to me, I thought there were 3 parts, and it actually, when I finished on Friday, made sense to make part 3. So if you haven't listened to parts 1 and 2, that's probably a good idea. But in brief, on Thursday the 31st of March, it was the anniversary of my walking out of work due to burnout, and never actually going back, although I didn't know that at the time, of course. And Friday was part 2, which was the anniversary of me resigning from work, almost exactly a year after I walked out. So what I described in those 2 sessions was, in part 1, the outside-in paradigm that leads to burnout. And I know that you can look on the internet and you can find a long list, as long as your arm, of why people burn out. But fundamentally, it's because there's a misunderstanding about where our feelings are coming from. And for me, that took the form of trying to control the outside world to make myself feel okay. And I had, in the end, so many things to control that it became unsustainable for my physical body to keep doing all those things, and for my head to keep thinking about all those things, because I wasn't able to sleep because I was thinking about things all the time that I needed to be in control of. So that's the inside out paradigm, kind of part 1. And then the inside out paradigm part 2 was I'm broken and going through my phase of a lot of self-development, a lot of attempting to fix myself, a lot of reading self-development books and trying to develop habits and all sorts of things that I did to try and feel okay. And then I guess part 3 really starts with my coaching journey that started in January 2020 with my lovely friend Peter Slay, who I'll actually be talking to later on today, as it happens. And that being taught that life works inside out, not outside in. Now that might sound like a really small amount of learning, like, oh, it works inside out, that's that then. Now, on an intellectual level, it's really easy to understand, I think, in a practical way, that the outside world is not creating our feelings, and that the outside world cannot bring us well-being. We can't get it from meditation. We can't get it from anything else we might do in the outside world. So that's the kind of 2 phases of the outside-in paradigm. And it sounds like, well, that's just something to know then, isn't it? But there's a difference between knowing it intellectually and knowing it. And I think a really good analogy for this is our understanding of gravity and how that develops over time. So I don't know if you've had little children or spent any time with them, very small children, as soon as they can grasp things and do that kind of action, they start to throw and drop things. And I used to think that was some kind of game or a bit of naughtiness, but actually those children are exploring a rule, that they're really curious. They're trying to find out if that happens the same every time. They're not doing that consciously. That learning is happening unconsciously. They're trying to find out what happens when I do this, when I let something go, when I throw something across. Does it always go down? And by the end probably by the time children start school, they've stopped generally throwing and dropping things. They've realised that if they drop a plate, it's going to break, it's going to hit the ground and break. So they're not breaking and dropping and throwing quite so many things. Now, we as adults work within gravity without thinking about it. We know it's a rule. We know it works the same way all the time. And that is a big part of the problem with most psychological models and theories, is that they don't work with any rules. They say, well, try this, it might make you feel better. Try that, it might make you feel better. This worked for me, you try that. And it's all very, very well meaning. But the other thing about psychology is it comes from a place of lack. It comes from this idea that there are some people, and I had a conversation with a lady psychologist a few days ago, and she was absolutely adamant that there are some people who are broken. There's something wrong with them. There's something that that can't be fixed other than through particular means, like I suppose drugs and therapy or whatever else you might look at. And that actually some of those people might need to medicate for the rest of their lives because they can't, their well-being can't be managed in any other way. Now, so that's one of the most profound changes in how I see myself and how I see other people now. And that is that we are fundamentally okay. Like that our well-being, this thing that we're always looking for outside of us, whether it's by fixing circumstances and people and whatever, or by trying to fix ourselves, isn't actually anywhere else but inside us all the time. And just having that being a real, like, not just, it's not in my head, this is in my heart and in my being, that is what I see now about other human beings. That is so life-changing. To see it in myself is amazingly life-changing, but to see it in other people, to have a person sat in front of me who wants my help and to see it in them, to see that they're okay, is such a shift. It's such a shift in how I see people now. I don't see it all the time, but I tend to look in that direction. So that's the first thing that's been so much of a change. And that change is available to all of us. But we need to look in a completely different direction to where we're looking at now. We have to stop looking at mental illness. We have to stop looking at what's wrong with us and look in an opposite direction, which is what I can help people to do. So through this change of understanding, so the first thing is now I know where my feelings are coming from. And you might go, well, I do too. But you probably don't. Because we are told all sorts of stories about where our feelings are coming from, and none of them are true. Apart from this one, there's only one truth, and this is what I'm talking about when I told you the bit about gravity. There's one truth about where your feelings are coming from. Your feelings are telling you about your state of mind. They're not even coming from it. They're just telling you. Your feelings are letting you know. If you've got an angry feeling, that's letting you know you've got angry thinking. It's not letting you know anything else. It's not letting you know that the person over there is being a you-know-what. It's not letting you know that your circumstances are wrong. It's not letting you know that you're broken. It's letting you know that you're thinking in this moment, not permanently, that your thinking in this moment is a certain kind of thinking, a certain genre of thinking, I like to say. Off thinking, I often call it. Now, when you know that, that has an impact. When you know it, like you know gravity, that has a huge impact on your relationships. That's the first thing. That's one of the biggest things that I've seen, is this huge change in my relationships. So from my closest relationships, the people who I have close to me, the people I love, as you know, in the traditional sense of the word, my children, my fiance, my mum, you know, like, but really, like, the changes in my most difficult relationships have been phenomenal. There's just more ease around them.
I don't know what the other people's experience is, but that's not really what's important, is it, in terms of how we feel. My relationships are better. The one with my fiance is phenomenally better, because he learnt this with me, which of course was really helpful. So my relationships are better, my creativity, productivity, which was the thing I was always trying to fix myself about, generally how I feel on a day-to-day basis, laughing more, being generally just more happy, definitely more calm. That'd be a bit daft if I didn't mention that. More clarity, more confidence, higher self-esteem, generally not having that, that voice in your head when you go into a room, what are people thinking about me, and what, just that disappearing. That's ace. Not having that voice anymore. But what I really like, this is my happy ending or my happy beginning. I'm not sure how you see it, but what I mostly want you to see is that is available to everybody, because it's already there. It's already inside you. So that's why it's available to everybody, because it's already there. And all I help really you to do is to see it, to experience it, to see that the only thing in the way is our thinking, really, in any moment. From us feeling amazing. Imagine that, like the whole of life is available for you to experience in a wonderful way when you allow your thinking to get out of the way. That's just amazing, isn't it? So yeah, that was part 3. We'll be back to our normal kind of chats tomorrow.
Thank you so much for listening. There's nothing to do now but bring some awareness to how this is working out in your life. Listen regularly to experience longer and longer periods of calm. This has been the Calmcast with Claire Downham, Queen of Calm. Take care and keep listening.